Hey Math 7 students, please start by taking out your math notebook and copying down this content. Highlighting the fact that your homework assignment is going to be an integer operations worksheet, which is going to review adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing with positive and negative whole numbers. Your classwork today is also going to include a worksheet as well, kind of going over the same material. I want to first spend a couple minutes here working with you on the content that we have been covering so far in class. So just like yesterday's warm-up, I would like you to first rewrite each one of these expressions as an addition problem. So this was our lesson from Tuesday where we took all of the subtraction and we made it into adding of the opposite. After that, then you are going to solve it. Tell me, what does it equal? Go ahead and pause this video so you can complete questions A through C. Question A says -6, and then here's my subtraction sign, so I'm going to change that to adding of the opposite. So -7 becomes a +7. So now if I have 6 negatives, and then I'm going to add 7 positives, I'm left with just 1 positive left over because all of these other ones go ahead and make zeros. Letter B. I have 8, changing my subtraction sign to be an addition, and then I'm going to make the 12 the opposite. So I'm going to have -12. If I go ahead and write down 8 positives, and then I add 12 negatives to this image, you can see that I'm going to have 4 negatives left over just because of all the zeros that are made from this diagram. All right, letter C. I'm going to start with my 9. I'm going to change that subtraction to say addition, and then I'm going to make the -6 the opposite, so it's going to become a +6. I'm faced with another subtraction sign, so I'm going to change that to, again, addition, but I'm going to make this 9 the opposite, which is going to be -9. Students, this is saying 9 plus 6, which is 15, plus 9 negatives, which is going to equal a +6. Some of you may have seen, too, that if I have 9 positives and 9 negatives, that would make 0, and I'm left with just the 6 there. Let's go ahead and get started into our classwork. Let's draw a line below our warm-up and move on to the classwork. I want you to go ahead and practice simplifying these expressions. This is all multiplication and division. This is what we focused our attention on yesterday. Please go ahead and write down all of these problems into your notebook, and we are going to go over them. I want to remind you again that if the signs are the same, like a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative, both of those are going to result in a positive answer. But if you have it where the signs are different, you have a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive, then your answer is going to be negative. Okay? So I just want to do a quick reminder. That was the quote-unquote shortcut that I asked you to make sure that you highlight or star within your notebook. So as I look at our first problem here in the top left, 9 times -6. So I have a +9 and a -6. So my signs are different. When my signs are different, that means my answer is going to be negative. Now I can just simply read it as 9 times 6, which is 54. So my answer is -54. Okay, here again, I have a positive times a negative, so that means my answer is going to be negative. 4 times 6 is 24. Let's keep going across now and do the multiplication before we jump into that division. Negative times a positive, again, one of each. So my answer is going to be negative. But now I can just look at the constants, 5 times 7, and my answer is going to be 35, negative 35. Negative times a positive, again, I have one of each, so therefore my answer is going to be negative. So 6 times 10 is 60, so I'm going to have a negative 60. Here, my values are the same. They're both negative, okay? So I have a negative 8 times a negative 8. Because these signs are the same, that means my answer is going to be positive. So 8 times 8 is going to be a positive 64. Again, I have a negative and a negative being multiplied together. So therefore, my answer is going to be positive. So 5 times 9 is 45. Now let's go ahead and jump to the division here at the bottom, okay? Division and multiplication are inverses of each other, so the shortcuts are very similar. Here I have a positive divided by a negative. So because I have one of each, then that means my answer is going to be negative. Now I can just look at this and say 49 divided by 7 is 7. So negative 7 is the answer. Okay, again here I have one of each. I have a negative and a positive. Because I have a negative and positive, one of each of the signs, my answer is going to be negative. So then I'm going to just look at the constants and say 54 divided by 9 is 6. So negative 54 divided by 9 is negative 6. When your signs are the same, just like in multiplication, your answer is going to be positive. So I can look at this problem and read it as 32 divided by 4, and I would get a positive 8. So I want to do another just quick review of multiplying and dividing integers. Here were the images that I showed you at the end of class on Thursday. So please make sure that, again, you have these written down. Titling it, here's the multiplying, here's your dividing of integers. Okay, and really highlighting the fact down here that if you have the same sign, it's going to be a positive value. And if you have different signs, then you're going to end up with a negative value. And that's true for both multiplying and dividing. So today what I'm going to ask you to do is to go ahead, once this video is over, you're going to close your Chromebooks. You're going to go ahead and ask the sub for your classwork worksheet, and you're going to work individually. Whoops, that's a marker. Individually, meaning by yourself, through the front and back of that worksheet. Okay? So when subtracting integers, remember that you're going to change it so it becomes adding of the opposite. That's also going to appear on these worksheets. Okay? Big thing right here is I want you to, you're not going to be allowed to use calculators on this worksheet, so really try, draw your positives and negatives if you need to. Okay? But I will be available tomorrow to help you out in class. So don't worry about 3, asking your team members. I really want to see what you can do on your own, just because we covered a lot of content this week. Okay, and I want to just do a check-in to see where are you at. So don't forget, draw your positive and negatives if you need to. But I'll be here to help you tomorrow. Okay, go ahead, shut down your Chromebook and go get the worksheet.